Yo, wouldn't you like to see this guy in Baltimore right now?
Yes.
Baltimore obviously has some issues at the running back position. They lost their starting guy to a season-ending injury. And then you pair an athlete like JT with Lamar Jackson and Zay Flowers, and now we are cooking, baby. So, man, I would love to see Baltimore pony up and try to get the services of Jonathan Taylor. We just know that front office is hyper conservative, so it's probably never going to happen. But man, that would be a lot of fun. That would be the one destination where I look at that landscape and I say, yeah, let's make that happen. And plus, they're also in the same division. Again, if Indianapolis looking to move on, they're probably looking at an NFC team.
He's somebody that people should start if they've got him in the lineup. Obviously, there may be a better quarterback for them, but is that somebody that coming off of this concussion you would recommend starting?
Is just because of the rushing ability for Anthony Richardson. That's why you got to start the guy, right? So right now the LA Rams, I think they're a little thin on not just corners, but also their linebacker depth to me is a little thin, right? So those are the guys that you're entrusting to stop somebody like Anthony Richardson. And because they're so thin there, I do think that Richardson can shake loose and really do some damage on the ground. And then on top of that, he's got these receivers, man. Like, they don't talk about Michael Pittman. They don't talk about Josh Downs and Alec Pierce, but that trio of wide receivers is actually pretty good. So I wonder if Anthony Richardson could get it going through the air and on the ground against this Rams defense. So I'm basically anticipating him to have, a top 12 finish at the very worst at that position. So yeah, I really like Anthony Richardson.
I like him in his passing yards number as well, 222.5 passing yards. As long as he's not crazy under duress, I think he's
Wait, you got that at 222? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's way up now. It's 234.5 at BetMGM.
Wow.
So that's a great
so that
number.
Move from 222 this afternoon to 234.
234.5,
makes complete sense, too, because you get the two weapons in, and also, Green Bay's now a 2-point dog, 1.5 in some shops, obviously, but they're thinking maybe they'll be chasing points. I love that number.
Yeah, I like that number, too. Wow, I didn't know that went up that much.
Yeah.
Green Bay, as we know, just can't run the ball. They're 27th right now in rush DVOA. Detroit ranks 5th in fewest rushing yards allowed right now. Christian Watson, like you said, coming back. You have Jaden Reed, who's already bald. You've got Musgrave, who had a huge game last week. And then Aaron Jones is in the mix as well. Aaron Jones adds a dimension to this offense that A.J. Dillon just does not. The game plan, as Andy Herman came on earlier this week, he said it. Like, the game plan is to pass the ball. So I really like Jordan Love's love to just pass and pass and pass. Maybe you can look at his attempts.
They played the Bills around this time. It was game 3, this game 4. So it was week 3 last year they played the Bills. It was in Miami early in the season. And the Dolphins snuck past them in a low-scoring game. It was like 21-19, I think was the final score. Something like that. And this Dolphins team is a lot better already than that team was at the early portion of the season. Dolphins lost with Skylar Thompson as the quarterback in the wild card game by 3 points in Buffalo last year. It's in the wild card. It's going to be great weather, low 70s, clear skies. That's obviously in favor for the passing game. And, I mean, listen, the Bills are, I don't know if you know, the Bills get no love in the Zaslow Mansion here. But I'll try and answer this unbiased, all right? The Bills are a really good team. But the Dolphins just scored 70. And Jalen Waddle didn't even play in that game. I mean, so the question really is, can the Bills' offense keep up with the Dolphins' offense? I don't think, I think it's close. I think it's a 3-4 point win. I don't think they can win by a touchdown. It's going to be a great game. Yeah, I like the Dolphins. How could you pick against a team that just won by 50?
You got Sports Illustrated saying, should we revisit conversations about Embiid to the Heat, which I do think, like, after this year, if Philly doesn't do anything, maybe he looks to get moved. But what kind of splashy move can they make? Because Pat Riley has to do something here.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think Pat Riley thinks he needs to do something here. Now, it's a little bit of hubris on the team's part where they don't necessarily feel they need to do anything. But then there's also the evidence, which is 2 of the last 4 years they've been in the finals. One of those other 2 years, they were in Game 7 of the East Finals. So do they really think they need to do something? No, I don't think that they feel that way. They lost Strus, they lost Vincent, but here's the thing. They get new Struses and new Vincents every couple of years. So I don't think that they feel the need to do anything. And they're like, yeah, well, we were just in the finals. We'll run it back. And by the way, we proved that it doesn't even matter what seed we are. We just need to get into the playoffs, and we're comfortable with our team. As far as the Embiid thing, that is a pipe dream. I mean, I don't know if Embiid's going to ask out at some point, but let's be honest here. There's a difference between trying to trade for Damian Lillard and saying, okay, we'll give you Tyler Hero as the main piece in whatever draft picks. That ain't cutting it for any type of Joel Embiid conversation. Like, if you're going to have a conversation about Embiid, the conversation begins with Bam Adebayo. And I don't think a deal like that necessarily benefits the Heat. The Heat aren't going to part with Bam for practically, I don't think, anyone. Like, they weren't including Bam in a conversation for Kevin Durant last year. So the Embiid stuff, I think that's a waste of time for Heat fans to even talk about.
I want you to know that I hammered that Oregon line, and the second that USC line dropped, I grabbed that one with a bankroll too, because I think listen, Colorado's defense is bad, and you take their best player away from them on top of that. I have enjoyed the Dion show. I told you guys last time I was on, I bought a pair of the Blender shades, the Dion shades, because I am #influenced. I am enjoying the show, but the football team's not that good. Like, they're fine. They're well on their way. Their development is there, but they're not that good. And Caleb Williams he's very good. He is going to torch Colorado. I think USC is going to win this game. But, like, the line I grabbed, I think at 21.5, I was stunned that it was that low, to be honest with you. I love Oregon, and I love Bo Nix. Like, I am a Bo Nix apologist. When he got there, I was telling everybody Auburn has been a dumpster fire for the better part of the last 9 years. So I'm glad he got out of there, because I think the kid's got talent. He put that on display, and Caleb Williams is better than him. I am begging you to put money on USC and thank me on Monday morning.
All that to say, just really quickly on Auburn, what do you think about them this weekend going up against Georgia? 14.5-point dogs at the crib, though.
I don't think it matters that much. Listen, I will say this. I am not as high on Georgia as everybody else is. Ryan and I, we talked about this a while back. This team is not last year's Georgia team. They're still very good, but they're not last year's Georgia team. That being said, that South Carolina-Georgia game a couple of weeks ago, where South Carolina had not just Georgia down at halftime, but like had them down at halftime, I'm banking on that having woke Georgia up a little bit. I'm banking on Georgia looking at that and going, okay, maybe we're not just going to roll the red G helmets out on the 50 and have teams back down like they used to, because now we took a punch in the mouth, we bled a little bit, and the Sharks are circling. Or Auburn, pardon me. Auburn is a team that is going to have some offensive firepower. They're going to put some points on the board. I just am not ready to believe yet. So I am leaning Georgia. I'm not as confident in Georgia as I am USC Colorado, for instance. I like the dogs, but they're not what they were last year. They are going to have to fight in some games. I just think Auburn right now, especially after what's happened there the last couple of years, is in such a tumultuous spot that there's not a lot of games I'm going to lean on Auburn and trust their consistency. Let's see what Hugh Freeze does to wrap up this year. Maybe next year they kind of build back a little bit, but no, I think Georgia's going to be just fine this weekend.